So I just want to say, very grateful to kind of be here. We've had a long association with Happy. Really kind of grateful to Henry and Kathy and all the team for doing this work and giving us the kind of opportunity to be in this forum. It does always make me feel grateful when we get the opportunity to attend these events. There's a lot of people in other businesses that never get this opportunity, and we've got the opportunity to kind of talk about stuff. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about more in towards about the journey we've been on. It's very much the journey we're in at the moment. So I'm going to kind of tell you where we are and some of the things that we've kind of learned. All right, so I'm going to talk about our journey to create a happy workplace in manufacturing. So it's great hearing Rosie speak again, and it's nice to be able to represent manufacturing. Sometimes manufacturing gets a bad press, but it is a very exciting sector to be in, and we've got a lot of great things going on. So hopefully I can tell you some about what we're doing. One of the things I love about working with Happy and trying to create a culture which is a positive culture where people can feel good about themselves is about kind of safety, yeah? So I'm going to share with you some of our beliefs today. I'm going to tell you about some of the things we're going to do, but I'm also going to tell you about some of our mistakes along the way and some of the things we've done wrong. But hopefully they've been kind of positive mistakes, and we've celebrated those mistakes, and we've been better coming out of it. So first of all, just going to give you some context about us. So that doesn't fit on the slide, but so we help capital-intensive manufacturers across diverse sectors and geographies enhance the reliability and efficiency of their production assets, which enables them to increase their competitiveness by improving on-time delivery and reducing their cost to manufacture. Yeah. We had a consultant came in and worked that out for us, and we like that. We've never used that at all in any of our kind of stuff. So you're the only ones that have seen that part of the presentation. What we talk about in our business is that we make factories run better, and that phrase came up from one of our technicians because he heard the first one and he goes, I just don't understand that. What we do is we make factories run better, and that's become a kind of a philosophy or a mantra in our business that's been kind of very empowering in terms of, that goes into people's job descriptions, and we talk about whatever they're doing. If they're making the factory run better, then that's a good thing. They should feel empowered to do it. If anybody's read the book, Does It Make the Boat Go Faster? That's our kind of version of that kind of mantra. So that's what we do. The business is interesting because like all good kind of fun businesses, it started in a pub. So we were, our founding members of our organization, which is about 30 people, they worked for Caterpillar in the US, in Illinois. And Caterpillar at the time were very into kind of commercializing parts of their business and kind of growing it out, and kind of Dragon's Den entrepreneurial. So the business started as kind of an incubator project within Caterpillar. And the guys in the pub, after a few beers, drew out this kind of future vision of manufacturing. And our business is focused on making factories run better by providing world-class maintenance to make those machines run better. So they developed that, and it's something that's lived with us since. And I think about that, and it created a real kind of purpose and passion at that early point in the business. And we've tried hard to retain that purpose and passion as we've grown. We are quite unique as a business in what we provide, so it's meant that we've been able to grow fast with our customers. And the business today has about 3,500 people worldwide. We operate in 185 locations, and we're principally based in the US, Mexico, and the UK. But we project work in most territories. Unique things about our business and interesting about culture is that we've got these 185 locations, so we're very fragmented, teams of kind of 10 and 20, and all those teams have their own type of culture. And the other thing that makes us a little bit unique is that most people in our organization did not choose to join us. They have transferred to our organization from other organizations, and they still live on our customers' sites. So we have all these mix of cultures that mean how do we create a strong culture within our business. But it's not really that different. We talk about these three pillars of our business, of people, process, and technology. We invest a lot of money in technology to try and make work better. We've got some good processes we're trying to make better, but most of our business is all about people. Yeah, it's where our cost is in our business, is how we serve our customer. So we have really focused on how we make our people feel about work, because generally a person who works in a maintenance environment is not the most loved person, or does not feel the most loved person in a factory. Yeah, so we want to love that role, love what it can give the factory, and those people to see their value and feel good because of that. So, long history, but we have been working with Happy since 2015. Part of what gives me energy is to go around and see other companies. And I was in a benchmarking group, and we went to all these kind of fancy manufacturers and learnt stuff. And one session was with this kind of weird kind of place in London that wasn't a manufacturer, so I wasn't really sure where I was going, but I met Nikki, who's moved, wherever Nikki is there. And I thought, God, this is for us. And I went home and I read the Happy Manifesto, and I didn't know Henry, but I sent him an email and I told him all the things I'd done. And then I had to kind of control myself and work that back a little bit. But we've done some really cool things, and Happy's become very important to us. We have a Happy Leadership program within our business today. We have some guys who are doing the apprentice program. We have some other people who are doing the ILM Level 5 program. And it's really become a kind of word or a language within our business that's kind of bonded us together. But I will tell you about some of the things that we've done. So one of the things in that is getting real about culture. That's what kind of the association told me, is really getting real. Henry mentioned it up front in his presentation. And I think about this, Dunbar's number. Has anybody come across Dunbar's number? So Dunbar's number is research by this guy, anthropologist, and he came up through research of tribes that 150 was like the limit of maintaining stable relationships. After 150 individuals, it become, tribes become harder to keep together. There's more politics and that sort of thing. And, I think about, the business that I look after, and you always look at it when you're small and it's fun and you can do things and all problems can be fixed. And then as you start to grow, it gets kind of tougher. And how do you keep that going? It's really tough. So I kind of think about this Dunbar's number, and I think about, how do we maintain that kind of small, exciting environment, but within a bigger organization. So we have our kind of culture on the wall. We kind of need to refresh it. It's a bit long. We talk about our cultural commitment is continuous improvement in our organization. And we talk about that on a business, on a customer, on a personal level. We're all about continuous improvement. And then we have these kind of 8 tenets. And we spent a lot of time previously kind of inducting our people in these tenets and educating them and telling them all about them, what we're about and that sort of thing. But I recognized on that that was just really organizational level, that was okay, but we had teams and we had individuals within the organization who had different aspirations and different values, and how do we bring that together in a much better way? And that kind of got me thinking about those things. And I kind of presented in this in kind of the cultural iceberg. So the 3 levels, we had these explicit values that we put on the wall and the website. And we were really proud of ourselves because we said, well, other companies do this, but they don't really live them. We felt that we really live these and we can show these examples of how things happen. But then it was like the implicit day-to-day behaviours. These are the things that, we're courteous, we're kind of hard work, and we look after each other. The things that happen, but you don't need to talk about. Yeah, they just happen within the organisation. But then what I was interested in, and especially as we grew, was the underlying assumptions. These are the things people don't say, the behaviours they adopt, because it's just the way we work around here. And some of those can be very positive things, and other things can be dysfunctional in their kind of nature. And it's important to keep an awareness of those so you don't have one of those crashes into the iceberg. So we're getting a lot of Titanic themes today. I don't know what it is. So I really wanted to open that up to kind of exercise 1. This was an exercise a guy called Rob Goffey kind of shared with me. I thought it was really interesting things to do. So thinking about those underlying things, you all have your values and your things on the top and on your presentations, but you'll have the things that go on within your organization and the things that make people successful, on a day-to-day basis. So I want you to talk amongst yourselves, to think about, I am joining your organisation, and you're going away on a sabbatical in 5 minutes. The taxi's ready. It's all good to go, and you just have that 5 minutes to brief me on the 5 headline things that I need to do to survive, number one, until you get back, and be successful in your organisation. And the only rule is there can't be kind of bullshit things. There might be some bad things and some good things in there, but to think about what those are and reflect on those. So this is an example. We run this exercise now. I think it tells you a lot. When I did it, right, I felt I had some conflicting rules as well. Sharon, things about being very open but not wanting moaners in the organisation was one of mine. And I thought, maybe on different days that can mean different things to people, and maybe that's confusing. But now what we do is we use this as part of our kind of onboarding of new people in the organisation. So we've stopped inducting people and kind of telling them about everything. We get their kind of colleagues and teammates to kind of share their true experiences, but not just what the culture's about, how they're going to help them as individuals with kind of advice and what to give. And this was a recent workshop we were in where we had a new site manager joined our business, and we got his new team together, and they all kind of shared kind of their view. And it was really kind of empowering. It's quite scary when you just let kind of everybody free up there and say what they think. But what everybody did was they wrote down their Post-it notes, and then they got up in front of the team and they kind of talked to the person, but they kind of said why and gave it some kind of meaning behind that kind of Post-it note. And I think it was a very valuable thing for that individual because they got all this kind of feedback of how they can be successful. But also it was a great reflection for everybody involved in the room about kind of what's important and what makes us a team. And you can't see it at the top there, but just that ask for help. There was a lot of Post-it notes on ask for help. And that was kind of good to see that we don't expect everybody in our team to know everything. Yeah, it is about the team and it is about working together. So I've got less worried about the culture on the website now, the posted stuff, the explicit over the top. I'm worried about what's underneath and is that kind of real? So that's kind of helped me think about it. So this is it really, kind of stay ahead of the culture by creating the culture. I recognize that now the culture in my business is evolving all the time. As new people come in, it can make it much more positive. We can learn new things. It isn't about being ATS. It isn't about being brainwashed into our way of working. It's about our evolution as a business and sharing that as we go on and bringing each together with us. So I thought about these things, really, the things that Happy's brought to our business, a change from management to coaching. So we focus a lot more now on discussions and how we help people be what they want to be within the organisation. I mentioned to Kathy during the break, her example of the paramedic was a good one for me to look at because I know that lady because she worked in ATS. Her name was Sam. She was a material specialist, dealt with supply chain, she bought parts, but at the weekend she volunteered for St John's Ambulance, and that was her passion, and that came up in the kind of coaching discussions, and as part of her development plan, she did a GCSE in biology, which some people in the business thought was a bit mad, right? But that was her passion, that's what motivated her. And then she was able to then gain that qualification and go on to be a paramedic. And that's been a very kind of positive example for us in the business. And now, 2 weeks ago, I was having a conversation with someone who wants to start a sustainable transport business in the next 2 years. He's one of our site managers today. I've got another person in the business who wants to go and work on a game reserve. So it's meant those meetings have got a lot more exciting, and hopefully they're good conversations to have. Induction rather than reinforcement I've talked about, so it's not about us, it's about the collective that we are and how we move that forward. And then last one, outcomes and intent. This was a really interesting one for me, how we enjoy what we're doing, and focus on what we're doing and don't be overly focused on the goal. We need goals to see where we're going, but we want to judge ourselves by what we do. And we talk about kind of trying our best all the time. Have I done my best? And that's not kind of an easy thing to say. It's really, have I done my best in what I'm doing? So, but I want to talk about one thing got wrong. So intentions and outcomes, they can be a bit difficult. So I'm going to tell you stories. We like to talk about stories. I'm going to tell you about the the freezer and the Choc Ice. You know, I thought I'd done this really well. This was a good one, food related. I thought they're going to love me. I'd seen all the cool things that Rosie did previously. I thought the freezer and Choc Ice, this is going to work. So this is Julian. Julian loves an ice cream. And a lot of our technicians love ice creams. So we, if anyone's been to Happy Training, you know they have an ice cream break. So we have an ice cream break in the afternoon. We've become famous on our sites for ice cream breaks. We get contractors come to us, the customer comes to us. I spend a lot of money on Choc Ices, right? I spend a lot of money on Choc Ices. I've never questioned this. I've felt that the benefits of it are good enough, yeah? So we do it. Julian works at a site called down Havant on the south coast. And in there, our favourite afternoon treat is the Magnum almond version. Does anybody like that? Is any fans of that here? Right, very, very popular. So it costs £2 a whack, that one, right? So one of our site managers in our continuous improvement culture, because that's what we're all about, thought, I'm going to improve this. Still know the goal. So, and we were pre-approving, so I was following all the model here. It should have gone right. I don't know what happened, right? One day, we went to Morrison's, and that is a day I'll never forget. Yeah, it should have been okay. We got the Chockers. They look the same. They have a slightly different packaging. They actually get much better ratings than Magnums from users, but there is a perception that Magnums are better, right? So this caused lots of problems in my organisation. I was not happy this day. I heard about it very quickly. It was the number one thing. It went on for weeks. And it was kind of funny right up until someone came to me and said to me, Derek, is the business in trouble? Is the business in trouble? We've changed Magnums for Chockers. What's the problem? And I thought, God, yeah, that was worrying. I reflected on that. I thought, and this person genuinely cared about it, worried for his future and his family, all over the change from, you know, the brand of Choc Ice we were using. So it made me think about what I'd done. What I'd done for this to happen, and I'd realised that I'd really focused on creating a happy workplace culture, but I've focused on the ping pong and the perks, right? We had PlayStation competitions, we went paintballing, we did all these cool things, we had Choc Ices, you know. It was great and people enjoyed it, and I wanted them to have a good time at work, yeah? But it was about the good time, and what I hadn't focused on, and what I reflect now, is I hadn't focused on the resilience and the purpose and the passion. And that's what I tried to show you at the start with the napkin, yeah? That team had purpose and a passion. They probably never had a Choc Ice, yeah? They never did all the things that we did, but they had purpose and a passion, and it was far stronger what we'd had, yeah? And I see lots of high-stressed environments that have ping pong tables and slides and stuff like that. And those are good. I'm not saying they're not good. I enjoy going down a slide in certain places. But I think if you haven't got the purpose and the passion, then you can come into problems. And I do believe this is more important. If I was going to focus on one, this would be it. So I created an environment which was probably more sociable. We were enjoying ourselves. We were being more creative because people felt pretty safe and we were having lots of ideas. And there was effort. You know, people liked being there. People liked being part of ATS. People used to be real positive when they joined our company. This is great. I've never worked for a company like ATS before. And that used to make me feel good. I was maybe a little bit indulgent in that, but we were getting indulgent as a business. And there was compromise. You know, we wouldn't make the tough decisions, and cliques had started to develop within the organisation when you sort of looked at it. So good and bad, yeah? So I wanted to look at this differently, the sociability and then the solidarity. What holds us together powerful as a team? And what gives us focus, urgency, and achievement? I thought about that in our founders. They had those three things a lot stronger than we did at that point. But within that, there comes conflict, potential higher stress levels, and a risk aversion and not wanting to change things, feeling less safe. And I'd seen that in the previous version of the business as well. So there was a middle ground. So again, I use this kind of model just to show you this kind of example of solidarity and sociability, kind of where it sits on the two. So we probably started off as a kind of mercenary organisation, which had high solidarity but low sociability. Yeah, we were a hard place to work. We were winners. If you're a winner, come and join our business, you'll be okay. But we didn't look after people very well. We moved to a network organisation where we become a great place to work, but now we'd kind of lost some of our edge and our attention to results and our focus. And what I am trying very hard to do at the moment is move. I don't want to move to a mercenary organisation. That's not where I want the business to be. But I do want it to have some of the good bits of that. Yeah. So I want to move to a communal, and that's what we're working for within purpose and making sure job roles are better, people are clearer on goals. All around that clarity is part of what I see in there. So Henry doesn't like lots of words on slides. So I did this as my cheat slide. There's loads of words on here, but I just highlighted 2 so you could read them. For me, reducing formality, that's a good thing, yeah? Reduce, there's lots of bureaucracy. There's a great statistic that I can't remember now, was the trillion spent in the US through needless bureaucracy. So we should remove that. So reduce formality, but solidarity is really important. So gaining commitment, why I come to work, not that just I enjoy I come to work. The joy comes from having that real sense of purpose. So what we're focusing on now in the business is these 2 enablers. Transparency has been the key kind of buzzword in our kind of manifesto, if you like, this year. We always question, are we being transparent enough? Why am I not sharing something? What needs to be confidential? What doesn't? We use lots of tools for that. And ownership. Ownership's the other one, about thinking about how people own their roles. So some quick examples. So transparency, we use a lot of technology to give us transparency because we're fragmented. So we use things like Smartsheet, that some of you may have come across, where all our scorecards are open to everyone now. So we have no secrets. Everything's out there. We use Slack as our communication tool. Anybody use that? And we kind of ban private channels, yeah? And I looked at that as a measure, actually, what percentage of direct messages and private channels versus what percentage is kind of out there in the open. So everything's an open conversation. If you want to be involved, you can get involved. And we talk about the opportunity to achieve and get promoted is about taking responsibility and getting involved within the organisation. And transparency has helped us to do that. One of the other things I was reminded of it the other day was I do this thing called 2-Minute Tuesday. So every Tuesday, I do a 2-minute video. Last year, I managed to do 44 videos. So every week, I stand in front of the camera, and I just say what's going on, everything. Good stuff, bad stuff. I've talked to, it's great talking about all the good things, thanking people and the fun things, but I've had to talk about factory closures. I've had to talk about people losing their jobs. I've had to talk about one colleague who passed away. So it's not all the good stuff, but it's just being totally open on what we're doing. And this actually kind of gives me energy, because it's tough when you're in a business which is fragmented, getting around everyone. And I really enjoyed shaking everybody's hand when we were smaller, and it's tougher now. So this gives me a connection to do that, and hopefully allows us to share everything we're doing within the business and people to feel kind of part of it. And then ownership, copying the happy model here. So we talk about the job ownership model. So this would be about being really clear with people on our principles and what we stand for, allowing them to influence those principles, clear on goals and accountabilities, where they sit as individuals, support and feedback. And some of the things we're trying to learn from some of the best practices I see elsewhere of some of those kind of one pages, and how we keep those things kind of front and center. Okay, so infinity and beyond, just to finish off. So this was my place. So liberating structures. This was a happy thing I was involved with earlier in the year. Did anyone go on the liberating structures kind of immersion workshop? Anyone do that? It's great, right? It's great. I didn't know what I was going, so I like development, so I just booked up to this this session. I didn't know what it was about, and it was mental. I walked into this room. Henry says other people didn't know what was going on, but I really didn't know what was going on. It felt quite uncomfortable, but I kind of went with it. But lots of great structures, and they talk about kind of, getting better results by creating a structure that allows people to have freedom within the structure and be more creative, yeah? And they got a lot. And one I use a lot in my day-to-day, I draw it all the time, is the life cycle. And this really got me thinking about culture in the business. I was on this journey from the culture we had to the culture we wanted to be, yeah? And I felt that, well, that's going to be kind of like a line, and maybe it's going to have some ups and downs, but it's going to be that trend. And I've realized that it's not that, yeah? It's not that, and it's much more this kind of thinking about it as an eco-cycle. So this is how I think about my business today, is about, things start, they're in early life, maturity, and then we need to disrupt them, and we need to bring them back to early life because it's important for people to feel part of that. So it's made me, this is kind of my like little resilience loop now. When things are bad, I don't think they've gone wrong and we can never fix them. I just think it's kind of time for change, and we've got to preempt that change and kind of push it forward. So one of my learning points would really be about culture is about the ripples, just focusing on all the small little things we can do every day. So that's why I love coming to these kind of things, because there's all these little, tiny things in terms of behaviours to learn that make the big difference. It's not really about the big kind of organisational change programs. It's about doing the right things every day that make things stick. And mentioning dreams a lot. So this is a mantra that I kind of keep in terms of our business, is thinking about how we make a difference, how I get that commitment with people, making sure I'm always honest and transparent, extra value in kind of personal development of people, authenticity, meaning, and then the most important one to me is like simple rules and freedom. And that's one thing I've certainly learned from our association with Happy, is about freedom within guidelines. Yeah. Is understanding that guidelines are needed in business because they give people security. And my lesson in this is that we with positive intent maybe went too far, and then we kind of moved back to a more central position. And I think that's a good thing. We kind of needed to go through that journey, but it's been a very positive. So on the point of journey, I would say that'd be a message. This is really enjoy the journey. It's great that everybody's here and has a positive intent to create positive working cultures for the benefit of people within them. But enjoy the journey, enjoy those little moments that are within it, because they're really fun in our organisation, and we have to make sure we keep reflecting on those. Okay, thank you very much.